Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. My name is Sarah, and in today's video we're going to be going over how to set up automated RFQ reminders within your RedTeam Flex database. So you can see here I've navigated down to our configuration menu within this RedTeam Flex database. This is where your administrators are going to be able to go to set up automated reminders for all RFQs on new projects. So if you're looking to set up some standardized reminders for your request for quote across all of your projects, this would be the place to come. We'll be looking at how to set up individual project-specific reminders later in the video. So the first place I'm going to go is this vendor quotes section here. If I open this up, not only am I able to do a little bit of editing in terms of the formatting of my requests for quote as I send them out, but if I scroll all the way to the bottom, this is where I'll find the ability to set up consistent, standardized reminders for all RFQs that go out on all new projects. So if I open this up, you can see I've got two reminders already in here. This may be blank when you first visit this screen, and if so, you can go ahead and hit Add Reminder to set up each of these individual reminders. You can add as many as you would like, and you'll know that they're working on your new projects if the status is active. So you can go ahead and toggle these on and off depending on whether you want that reminder to be active currently on new projects, or you can use the trash can to delete reminders that you no longer wish to utilize. But in terms of setting up your reminders, you've got quite a few options here as to how you want to format them and when you want them to go out. First, you'll need to choose a subject line. You can go ahead and type in whatever you'd like as the subject line for this reminder. I've chosen quotes due tomorrow, and another one here that says bids due today. Next, we'll note that the only option currently for sending out reminders is via email. We do not see the pop-up or action item options that we currently have with things like RFIs or submittals. So for now, email is the only way that you can send out a request for quote reminder, but you've got quite a few options on when that email should be sent out. First, we'll choose an upon date. So we're choosing here the date upon which we wish to base our reminder. So do I want to send my reminders out based on the date that that RFQ was committed? Based on the required date for that RFQ, which would be the due date for quote submission, or based on the date that the RFQ was emailed out to its recipient. So I go ahead and choose when I would like to base that date. Now I'm going to say based on the required date because my subject is when the quotes are due, right? So I'm basing it off of the due date. And if my subject is quotes due tomorrow, I want to go ahead and select before the required date. So I'm setting up this reminder to go out before, after, or on that specified upon date. So we're going to say before the required date by 1 day. And that allows me to set up a reminder that very accurately portrays quotes due tomorrow. Lastly, I need to indicate who I'm sending this to. I can send this to the requester, which would be the author of that RFQ, whoever's actually setting it up and asking for that information. I can send it to the project manager so that the PM for the project will receive these reminders regardless of who created the request for quote. Or I can set them up for the recipient, which is what I'm going to do in this case. I'd like to remind my vendors that their quotes are due tomorrow. Now you'll notice here that this recipient option states only upon RFQ email, which simply means that no matter what your upon date is or when you had your reminders set to go out, we're not going to send any reminders to your recipient before they've received the actual RFQ by email, which just makes sense. We don't want to be reminding them of something that they're not aware of yet. So once that email goes out to your recipient, then all of your reminders that are set to go to your recipients will become active and start sending out to them based on your specifications above. So we can go ahead and set as many reminders as we'd like in here. Each one can be unique and different. And then we'll go ahead and save. Once we save reminders here in the configuration menu, those reminders are going to be automatically applied to all new projects created from that point forward. But they won't be applied to existing projects. So it's important that you also know how to set up specific reminders for a given project. To do that, we're going to hop into one of our existing projects here, this Haunted Mansion renovation, and we're going to take a look at the project-specific preferences located here under the gear icon. You'll find this in the same location in every one of your projects. And while you can scroll through the project preferences, I find it easier to type into the search bar here. So I'm simply going to type in quote, and you'll see my vendor quotes section pop up. Now you can see here, this is one of those older projects that does not have my automated reminders in place based on what I set up in the configuration menu. So what I can do here is either if I don't have those items from the configuration menu in place, or if I need additional reminders for this particular project, I can go ahead and click the Add Reminder button to go ahead and build out project-specific reminders right here. And again, you can have as many of those as you want. The settings here are exactly the same. You'll put in your subject, go ahead and select email, and then you'll set your upon date and how many days before, after, or upon we should be sending this reminder. Lastly, selecting who we should send it to. Of course, you've also got the trash can here. So these reminders are automatically active. You don't see the active toggle switch. They'll be active on this project up and until you choose to delete them using the trash can. So now you've seen how to set up reminders across all projects for your request for quote using the configuration menu, along with how to set up project-specific reminders using your project preferences. That is all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for choosing RedTeam Flex.